Hi, folks. This is Colin Richards, president and founder of Lord and Richards. You know, I'm talking to people just like you every single day who are worried that events out of your control may well harm your retirement. Volatility in the markets, volatility and a recession looming in our economy, political turmoil, and wars around the world. All of these things create anxiety for people just like you who are looking forward to retirement but are worried you're not going to make it. So what we do at Lord and Richards for you is we build a plan so that you can achieve financial independence and enjoy your retirement without worry. And we do it from a biblical point of view. We want you to be financially independent so that you can do amazing things for God with the bountiful resources He's placed at your disposal. In this particular series of segments, we have begun talking about what it means to leave a legacy. We have a biblical imperative on that. A wise person or a good person leaves an inheritance to their children's children, a multi-generational gifting strategy. And this is so, of course, you can do the maximum good in this life and after you're gone. So the way we finished up our last segment was that we really need to put into place a structure after educating our children and our grandchildren about gifting and the value of money. We need to put in place a structure so that what we have been blessed with from God doesn't get wasted. So here are some reasons why an estate plan is really important to get in place right now. First of all, we had a wonderful passage of a law called the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act several years ago, and it's set to expire in 2025, at the end of 2025. As a result of that law, people with large estates, now I realize that's not everybody I'm talking to, but let me address you first. People with large estates need to realize that eventually the estate tax exemption is going to drop. You say, well, what does that mean? Well, right now, if you have a large estate, you can pass on up to $12.06 million in 2022 per spouse. So that's $24.12 million without fearing the estate tax. The estate tax currently is 40%. So you go over that 12 or 24 million, you're going to leave behind nearly half in federal estate taxes. That doesn't even bring into account other kinds of taxes at the state level, as well as potential income taxes, depending on whether or not you thought ahead. Regardless of whether or not the current attempts to change tax law go through, we know we're going to revert back to about half those numbers in 2026. In addition to that kind of change in the law, we're also going to see some really unusual things happen to other facets. I mentioned in a previous segment the step up in basis. So the home you leave behind, if not properly dealt with in advance, could well lose its step up in basis, and heirs have to come up with taxes on the appreciation of the home or stock or other assets that appreciate. So now is the time to deal with those potential changes in the law. Secondly, weaknesses of wills. You know, an estate plan usually goes beyond a simple will. Here's some problems with wills all by themselves. They usually do not guarantee who receives your property. They're easily contested. And they go through the expense of a process we call probate. Now, a lot of people will try to downplay how high probate can cost, but typically here in Colorado, $3,500 to $5,000. And you can spend that money now and avoid your heirs having to spend that out of your estate later and do so much more in advance than them having to pick up the pieces later. It becomes a matter of public record, so it lacks the privacy that so many people are looking for. And there's a limited ability for you to control your assets upon death. You say, well, why would I want to do that? Well, maybe there's special situations where you want it to go to certain kids in certain proportions, or maybe you want it to go to kids and not the wife, or to wife and not the kids, or maybe because of a blended family, you want to keep it on one side or the other. We encounter this almost weekly here at Lord and Richards. You know, we had a client who set up a trust where the grandkids had to be a full-time student or employed in order to receive the funds. So that's the kind of good control from the grave that we want to exert. So we want to get through just a will and look beyond that to say, you know, do we want to establish something a little bit more sophisticated, right? IRAs, things that bypass the will, have beneficiaries, joint tenant with right of survivorship, transfer on death, certain types of life insurance. All of these need to be kept up to date, because if you have an old beneficiary on these accounts, it's going to go right around your will. Okay? So there are better ways to keep this up to date. Now, there's a third consideration. So in addition to the potential changes in the law that we're going to see and the weaknesses of wills, we have the matter of healthcare, right? In addition to the need for normal legal documents, you need to begin planning for what happens when somebody gets sick. You say, well, we're both healthy, we're doing great. Folks, many of you have had to deal with this. It's tremendously burdensome to have to handle the technical or legal matters or financial matters when this happens. It's better to prepare in advance. Is it possible that you might be able to protect some assets so they're not consumed by the nursing home and hospitals? Is it preferable maybe for some of your assets to go to family, or are other kinds of assets better left to charity? That's a powerful question, and one we'll address in our next segment, how to create an estate plan. And then finally, there is a Medicaid asset protection plan that you can put in place so that instead of leaving all of your assets to the hospital and nursing home, you could effectively gift your assets to a special trust that still takes care of your needs, still provides income, still provides the potential to support you. We call it health, education, maintenance, and support, but keeps those assets off the ledger for determining whether or not you're eligible for Medicaid. Medicaid is the medical system for the poor, and it's designed to help with expenses such as long-term care that neither Medicare nor ordinary health insurance will help you with. So folks, I would say the answer to the question, do I really need an estate plan better than just a will, is a solid yes. And it's worth a conversation. One of the things we do at Lord & Richards is we make available to you a meeting to sit down at no cost with an attorney and walk through your situation, no cost to you, and find out if you might benefit from an estate plan. Also, putting that estate plan into a comprehensive financial plan that includes all the areas that you need to explore in order to be financially independent. It just starts with a phone call, folks. It's as easy as that.